Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. If you're new here, my name is Brandon with 9 to 5 Tactical. In today's video, we are going to be packing my range bag and showing you guys what items we believe are essential for every range day. Now we're going to break up into two categories. The first category being items we believe that you cannot go without. The other category being items that we believe are optional, but they'd be pretty nice to bring along. So, without further ado, let's get started. Starting with the essentials list, we have the most obvious item, the gun. Now of course, you are going to the range and you need to bring a gun, but I bring this up because there are many of you out there that have multiple guns, and here at 9 to 5 Tactical, we believe the gun you should be training with 99% of the time is the gun you carry with on a daily basis. 189. A lot of people like to bring their fun range toys out since it's normally easier to shoot, but it doesn't matter if it's a full size or a micro compact. If you carry it, you need to train with it. 202, so close. A quality holster. And one thing we hate the most is when we finish a shooting course and you don't have anywhere to put the gun. If you carry outside the waistband or inside the waistband, that's what you should be bringing to the range to work with. It's very important you have a good quality holster to help prevent helps prevent any negligent discharges. We recently did a review on the QVO Tactical Holsters. Go give that video a view and check out some quality holsters. Also, Roger did reach out to us and offered all our viewers a 10% discount code on all custom holsters. We do not make any revenue from this code at all. It is simply there to help you save some money. So use the code 9to510 at checkout. We will link his website in the description down below. Ear and eye protection. You don't want to be at the range without ear protection. If you've ever been next to someone shooting a gun at the range without ear pros, you know it hurts. But eye protection is the one thing I do not see enough of. People online are always shooting without eye protection, and I think that's just crazy to me. There's been so many times where we've been out shooting and we hit some steel, whatever the case was, or even a rock on the ground, and we get some shrapnel flying back at us. We've even got cut by it a couple of times, so I never see why people don't at least wear eye protection when they're shooting. It's a small price to pay considering the risk is losing your vision. Targets. Of course, you're going to go to the range to train, you need something to shoot at. Don't be those guys you see online shooting at the dirt. You don't need any specific kind of target. You can literally just buy a pack of sticky notes and keep it simple. Even note cards would work. Just go out and buy a pack of sticky notes or note cards, take a marker, draw something for your eyes to focus on when you're at the range. Training firearm fundamentals does not require any expensive targets. Don't let targets be the reason why you don't get out to the range to train and get good. A marker. This is probably the one piece kit that everyone forgets to pack when it comes to drawing other targets, marking your hits, recording data. This is just an essential piece of kit to have on the range. Stapler and staples. You need something to put your targets up with. Now we usually shoot outdoors for a majority of the time, and our targets tend to get blown over by the wind. Putting extra staples into it tend to remedy the issue. So we find this pretty essential for us. If you shoot indoors, you may not need this, but we do, so it goes in the bag. A timer. The one we have here is the Pat Club timer. I believe you can pick one of these up on Amazon for like 130 bucks. We do like this one a lot. It gets the job done. There are other ones out there like it, plus or minus some features. I've had it for about 3 years now. Not only do we use it to compete against each other when we're doing competitions, but we also use it to compete against ourselves. If you want to become a better shooter, you need to get a timer. This is the best way to track your progress. Extra magazines. When we're on the range, we are doing reloads and working on longer courses of fire. We don't like to spend a lot of time reloading in between our drills. We like to have at least 2 magazines on us at all times. That way we're spending more time working on fundamentals on the range instead of back at the table reloading. And lastly, make sure you bring your ammo. Something I want to note is that you should be training with the correct grain of ammo. I know there's plenty of people out there that actually carry with 115 grain hollow points, but they'll go to the range and train with 124 or 147 grains. Be sure you're replicating the same conditions on the range that you would have in your everyday life. On to the optionals list. So one thing to note is that a majority of these items on here are for just in case purposes. We do take them to the range with us, but we don't always use them every single time. So hence why they're on the optionals. Starting with the rangefinder. This is a cheap one I got on Amazon. It was probably like 50 bucks or so. This is handy to have because you can use this to get quick measurements on from distance to target, which is pretty great. We don't use it all the time because usually if you're like within 10 yards, you can probably just walk it out and get an approximate. So this isn't really necessary, but it is still handy to have. So it goes in the back. A speed loader. So I actually almost never use these anymore. The only time I really ever use it is like during classes. When you're stuck there having to jam hundreds of rounds throughout the day, definitely get some fatigue in your fingers, but it just stays in the bag just in case purposes like that. I prefer to actually just grab a handful of rounds, load it as I'm walking around and thinking about what I'm focusing on at the range of that day. Gun lube. So I do try to keep my guns wet at all times, but I am pretty good at applying lube before I go out to the range. So this actually doesn't get too much use. It's important for you to maintain your firearms and keep it lubed up to maintain functionality at the range or in any self-defense situation. I've had this pen for about 2 years now and it actually looks like I'm almost out, so I'll need to go shopping for a new one. Extra batteries. So of course we are dot shooters. They do require batteries to operate, but not just for optics or anything like that. We actually have batteries in almost everything we use. The ear pros, the timer, your weapon mount light, basically everything that we have is electronic. So of course having extra batteries is always nice. Maintaining the battery on your optics is actually something that falls under the firearms maintenance category. So I actually swap mine out once a year. I've actually never had a dot die me before, but I just swap it out anyway just in case. Bag of miscellaneous tools and Loctite. So this actually comes in handy quite often. When it comes to a optic going down, a weapon light needs tightening, an optic needs adjusting, any of those things, this bag automatically comes out. It has all the tools we could potentially need. Having a bag full of miscellaneous tools is great. It's come in handy quite a few times. One story I can tell you about is when I was in Missouri. I took a class with the QVO Tactical. Halfway through the class, I noticed my optic had actually come loose. It was very embarrassing, and luckily some of the students in the class also had extra tools for me to use because I didn't have this bag yet. They had a Loctite, they had a torque wrench for me to use, so I was able to get everything screwed back down and ready to go before the class started back up again. Super embarrassing, so having this is awesome. That leads us to the next item, a torque wrench. So you can be one of those guys that actually do righty-tighty, but I personally don't trust myself to do that, so I always make sure I want to have a torque wrench with me. So I have broken mounting screws a handful of times in my past, so I always prefer to use a torque wrench. I just know that when you are doing righty-tighty and it becomes righty-loosey, you're going to have a bad day. Tape. This can be used for a universal amount of reasons. You could be one of those guys that prefer to tape up their hits instead of mark it with a marker. What we use it for actually is to occlude our dots. This will help us stay thread focused when we're training on the range. We always like to use painter's tape because this is really easy to take off and on. It doesn't stay anything permanent, so when we're using on our optics, it doesn't leave any residue or anything like that. Lastly, hydration. We usually go to the range for many hours at a time, so all of us like to make sure we go out there with at least a bottle of water. I know not everyone stays at the range too long. Most people like to go out there and put their 50 rounds down range and call it a day. For us, we actually stay out there for multiple hours training, not only just shooting, but we're also sitting there discussing our fundamentals as well. So staying hydrated is very important to us. And that is a breakdown on what we feel is the bare essentials for going to the range. I actually have a lot more in the bag that we usually take, but we wanted to give you all a quick checklist on the basics of what you need to take on the range and train. Well, that's it for this video. Please leave a like, share, and subscribe. Hit that bell notification to stay up to date with our content. We make new videos every week. Thank you all for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.
Just keep
Got it. To help prevent negligent. Please leave a like. What's it for that?
Wow.
Give me a second. Give me a second. Give me a second.